This is the new Apple Watch Ultra 2 Black. I just got finished at Apple's big event this year where they launched the new iPhones, new AirPods, and of course, new Apple Watches. I've already published a full rundown of what's new in the Apple Watch Series 10, which includes a complete internals redesign, a much bigger display, new case sizes, new speakers, new material options, etc. But that wasn't the only new Apple Watch the company announced. They also announced a new Apple Watch Ultra 2 Black. Yes, you heard that right, the Apple Watch Ultra 2, not 3. Much to the surprise of many, Apple skipped going for a third generation Apple Watch Ultra this year, opting instead for a minor update with a few new features. Obviously, given there's only 2 generations of Apple Watch Ultra previously, there wasn't like a whole lot of historical precedent for this, so we really didn't know what was going to happen, but now we know. Still, there are some interesting things that are worth talking about on this new Ultra edition, and I've got a silly pile of footage that I took, and I've got some time here at the airport, so let's get right into it. Apple has introduced a second case option for the Apple Watch Ultra 2, specifically the new Apple Watch Ultra 2 Black. As the name rightly implies, this is black. It remains titanium, just like the previous Apple Watch Ultra 2, and the price also remains the same at $799, at least with the stock band options, which we'll get to in just a second. However, there's one important detail here. The new Black Edition is now DLC coated. Basically, it makes it stronger against scratches, a whole heck of a lot stronger, in fact, than the original Apple Watch Ultra 2, which is that silvery color here, that can scratch a bit more easily. You can see some of the scratches on my unit that I've had for about a year now. And of course, I beat the crap out of my watches. That's what I do on my long treks and hikes and all my day-to-day activities, so I'm not like sad about that. That just shows I loved it a bit. In any case, taking a closer look at that new black titanium option, I'm not gonna lie, it's the best looking Apple Watch I've seen today. It looks really, really good. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Garmin's Tactics series in the way it kind of looks and that black look to it, but it's really, really solid. Now with that included, there's, I mentioned, 3 different band options that you have there. You've got an Alpine loop, then you've got the Trail Loop and the Ocean Band, just like before, but there are new black options of each of those. And then for those that want to spend a little bit more, for $899, there's new Titanium Milanese Loop. So this is the full titanium loop, and it does come both in the black option as well as the silver option if you get basically the existing silver option Apple Watch. And at first glance, before I picked it up, I thought it'd be really heavy, but it turns out it's actually surprisingly light. It's got this kind of metal chain link design to it. Sort of has that same look to it, like the people on Shark Week that, go diving with the great white sharks, that kind of thing. Now in the back though, there is this double locking clasp, which the company says is good for any activity you want, including even scuba diving. Because titanium is not corrosive or basically won't corrode with salt water and things like that, you can go scuba diving just fine. Of course, I will test that out. I'm a scuba diver, so I'm going to give that a whirl and see if that claim holds true. In fact, that's probably a good opportunity to segue into some of the new software bits that might be actually useful for scuba divers. And the very first one is the new Tides app, though we'll talk about one more new Ultra model a little bit later on. In any case, the newly announced Tide app will show your tidal conditions closest to you by default, but you can add other locations to it. There's a database of 150,000 global beach locations. Within the app, if you just simply slide along there, you'll see the tides for the next 7 days. But you can also tap down below and you'll see the swell information. I will say this is one of the best executed tidal apps that I've seen. I use the Tides app of sorts, like a different one built into the Garmin watch, which is good, but the Apple Watch one, this new one here, is really, really well executed. It's just really easy to navigate and see tides quickly across a 7-day span versus all the extra clicks on the Garmin watch. However, what's even cooler though is the fact that the Tides app is available to all watchOS 11 watches. So basically all the way back to Apple Watch Series 6, we'll get the Tides app at launch basically probably sometime next week. Next is the new sleep apnea detection features that are coming. This is a bit of a multifaceted piece. I'm gonna kind of walk through each step of it. The first piece is a new metric called breathing disturbances. And this will be on your Apple Watch that's measured each night using the accelerometer to go ahead and detect basically breathing disturbances that happen each hour. And they're essentially measuring how many times this happens each hour. These are basically then categorized into 1 or 2 groups, elevated or non-elevated. And then after 30 days, you have the potential to get your first report, sleep apnea report. I say potential because if you don't have a sleep apnea condition, you won't get the report. But the way it works is within that 30-day time period, you have to have 10 nights that you've slept with the watch for at least 4 hours per night. And then of those 10 nights, at least 50% of them must have triggered a sleep apnea, basically elevation for either moderate or severe sleep apnea. So not kind of lesser sleep apnea conditions, only moderate or severe. Once that happens, you get an alert on the watch, which basically just tells you to open up your phone. And from there, you can go ahead and export out a PDF report of all the data from that entire time period. The idea being you'd be able to give that to your doctor, and then from there with your doctor, you better go ahead and figure out how to best treat that condition going forward. So Apple's goal here isn't to treat sleep apnea, it's to simply make you aware that you may have sleep apnea, because some 80% of people that have sleep apnea are undiagnosed with it. And all this is based on a clinical study that Apple did with 1,400 people for 30 nights and they were comparing that against basically medical grade sleep apnea devices, and then that was graded by sleep scientists, and that's all based on an 11,000 night kind of test data set they had for the different conditions to kind of the threshold there. And all that study data will be available within their FDA 501k pre-clearance that we should probably see in the next couple of days here as part of that, because this will be FDA certified as well as EU certified. It's already certified in Japan, and they have about 150 other countries that are looking to go ahead and get certified over the next few months. But of course, probably the best part here is it's also going back to all Apple Watch Series 9 and 10 watches, as well as all Apple Watch Ultra 2. And basically the limiter there is the S9 chipset on that, or the newer S10 chipset. It has to have one of those two in order to do that kind of background processing. Now, there is one more final Apple Watch Ultra 2 edition that was announced, which is the new Hermes option. This option is basically just the existing Apple Watch 2 with the titanium, kind of that silverish case there, but it does have Hermes bands on it, a whole bunch of different band options. And this course, this will set you back $1,389 US, but beyond that, you'll get two new software features. One, you'll get a new watch face, and secondly, you got a regatta timer that can be accessed from that action button. Now, of course, if you do have a proper sailboat that's capable of using the regatta timer, then the exact pricing probably won't matter to you a whole lot. Also note, if you do have that proper boat and you want me to properly test, the regatta timer feature on the boat, I'm happy to come to your boat if you can fly me out there or something like that, just to test that feature and make sure it's thoroughly and scientifically tested. As for the rest of you, I will have a full in-depth review of the Apple Watch Ultra 2 Black Edition, including most notably all the watchOS 11 features in their final form, right? They were announced earlier this past June, but now in their final form, including the new training load bits, the new Vitals app, the mapping pieces, the offline mapping pieces, all that stuff I will dive into my full in-depth review. So definitely hit subscribe if you haven't already done that. With that, I've got a plane to catch. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.